Hello all of you beautiful people. Today I'm going to show you when/how to repot a plant. So Christmas is coming up and I asked for plants because I freaking love plants. And when you get a new plant, you need to check it out. Check out its roots and see if it's comfortable in the pot it's in because it's not yours and you don't know how it's grown. So this is one of my new plant babies. Yeah, she's a cutie. And it's a pretty big plant for this small pot. So again, it's new to me, so I want to check it out and see how it's doing, see if it needs to be repotted, because even though it's a big plant, it may have very small roots. I don't know. So first, I'm just going to literally look at the bottom, and I don't know if you can see there, but you can see it already has a root right here growing out of the bottom and right there. And that's automatically a sign I don't even need to take it out of the pot to know that it needs to be repotted in something a little bit bigger. Now please keep in mind, I am a professional real estate agent. I am not a professional plant expert wizard. So if you learn anything in this video that is wrong, please get a professional to help you. Now personally, I like to always replant it in a nursery pot, which is basically the pot that you buy the plant in versus a decorative pot. And why I like doing this is that way I can kind of change my plants into different pots without having to uproot their entire life. And I already have a nursery pot from a plant that got upgraded, so I'm going to use this. And just to give you an idea of size difference, here you go. And basically what I want to do, especially because I'm not familiar with the soil, is whenever you take out your pot, usually just give it kind of a couple squeezes around, maybe at the bottom too, and you should be able to easily just lift out the entire thing. And see, I could already tell based on the roots that were coming out of the bottom that need to be repotted, but if I didn't see those roots coming out, you can tell how root bound this plant has been in that pot. You should not be able to see the roots going crazy like this. So this is bad. So we're gonna give it a bigger pot, give it some love, and it's gonna blossom. What I wanna do, and this is gonna be a little bit tougher just with how root bound this really is, what I want to do is kind of be able to break this up. Just loosen it up, and normally if it wasn't as root bound, I mean the soil would break up, but I can feel just pressing on it how dense the roots are. So I don't trust myself. As I said, I am no expert to not hurt this plant more. So I'm just gonna try and loosen it up a little bit. Get those roots to breathe some. And then I'm going to repot it in the bigger pot. And these are pretty intense. They really don't want to move. And I don't want to hurt the plant, so I'm not going to go crazy. I'm just basically massaging everything, loosening it up a little bit. And you can see here where some of the roots are starting, some of the larger roots are starting to loosen up, so that's good. And I'm sure I'm gonna make a mess, but it is far too cold outside right now to be doing this outdoors, so that's what vacuums are for. So right now I'm just kind of breaking up the top real quick. Again, getting that loose. These roots are pretty intense, so I'm glad I checked this plant out. Okay, well, let me get in this bottom a little bit more. Again, I'm not an expert, and I do not want to hurt my plant, but I also Right now I'm just getting in that bottom area. This was a very intense plant to choose for my first plant video. This is not a good example. Well, I guess this is a good example of my skill level, which is like a 3. I have plants that are alive, so I'll move up my skill level to a 5. I would say our roots in soil are loose enough, about as loose as this is gonna get, because this is very, very tightly wound. So now I'm going to go ahead and get it put into the new pot, new nursery pot, and then I'll put that into the decorative pot. So we got a fresh soil right here. I'll put a little handful in first. Just get a nice little baseline in there. And let's see, I'm going to put this in here to kind of get a good measure of our plant. See, honestly, even this pot may be a little too small. So what you're seeing, oh, hello. What you're seeing is a fierce panther in the jungle. Go, go, go. Okay. So I just put a little handful in. And as you can see, the plant is still over the pot, which is what I don't want. So what I'm gonna do is just reach in. Honestly, it's about as shallow as it can. What I would try to do is kind of put a little bowl in there. And it'll do good for now. And this is where it gets messy. So I don't know if you can see, there's a bit of a gap around. It's not where I'd want it to be height-wise, but it's good enough for now. I can always repot it, but I do want to get it out of that tiny pot. So what I'm going to do is just kind of fill in around this gap. And this is going to be so messy. So nobody judge me. Although this is the internet, so everyone is going to judge me. But that's quite all right. And I'm just going to go all the way around. And try and fill in this crack. Okay. And I'm just going to keep on doing that until it is all filled in. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing. Because it's such a skinny, small edge, I'm just piling it on and then pushing it down into that edge, just to make sure I'm getting the soil down there. And that side's gonna need a little extra love. Okay. And I'm just going around and making sure I really have that soil packed down those sides. I'll put a little soil on top as well. right. And there you have it. We have our freshly potted plant here. We went from this little baby to this guy, and you can see it's not too much of a difference. You actually don't want to repot your plant in going from small to a large pot. You want to do it in stages, going up just a little bit each time, because it helps the soil to plant to water ratio. Just meaning if your little plant is here and you have a ton of soil down here and you're watering it and you're watering it, it's not quite getting to the water, and what happens is the plant gets waterlogged and it starts to rot because it's being overwatered basically. So you want to go up just a little bit, just enough room to let it grow, get a little bit larger, give room for the roots to wiggle, but not so much that it's going to get overwatered and it's going to drown. And now that it's in a nursery pot, I can put it in a decorative pot. Nice and easy. And if I want to change that up, then it's no problem because it's in a completely separate pot, which makes my indecisiveness and need for change just a little easier. I'm Jessica. This is Rosie. And hopefully that was a great Plants 101 example on when and how to repot a plant. Yes. I'm Jessica. This is Rosie. And hopefully that was a great Plants 101 example on when and how to repot a plant. Isn't that right? Yes. Yes.